And welcome to No Subject Required Podcast, a podcast where we talk about nothing and where we usher you into your impending doom. And now your trio of hosts, starting with Audrey, burn them all to the ground, Ember. A random Romina appears, and of course, your dark lord of the interwebs and the master of RGB, Roberto Blake. Welcome to the No Subject Required podcast, filmed in front of a live YouTube audience. Please like, subscribe, and review.
Wow. I don't know what is going on here, but I like
usual.
it. But you're here for it.
I'm here for it.
But you're here for
it. This one is so out of context.
No, I mean, yeah, I guess it's a little bit out of context, but I understand the context, and I think it's a very deep message that Roberto delivered to us many episodes ago, which is, you know,
take a damn
shower. Oh man, yeah, this is very this whole conversation is taken out of context without the without the live stream. For our listeners, which I'm sure they'll listen to it maybe, I don't know, 8-9 months from now when this episode is finally available on all the podcasting platforms.
Yeah.
But
I started working on it. I started downloading them.
Jesus Christ.
Wow,
The shade.
The shade. I can't escape the shade.
I don't
deserve to escape the shade. So
had a full moon yesterday.
You had one job, Ember. You had one job.
I know. I'm just gonna stop talking.
Who's going first with their topic tonight? We got a lineup of topics. Your topics tonight are Elon Musk, Stranger Things, and the death and rebirth of YouTube. What are we covering first?
Audrey, why don't you get started?
Okay.
I'm tweeting. That's why. That's the only reason why I don't want to go first, because I can't talk and tweet at the same time.
No, this is perfect because me and Audrey will probably go back and forth on this particular one. So yeah.
Yeah. So the reason why I even had this idea is because
Audrey's topic is the
death of YouTube.
The death and rebirth of YouTube.
The reason why I brought this up is because I was talking to one of my friends who's like all in on shorts, right? And they were basically trying to convince me that I should only focus on shorts and not do any long form anymore. And I was like,
no, that's stupid.
Oh, okay. Wait, let me.
I'm gonna veto that. I'm vetoing that.
Let me finish my story. So my argument was, why not both? But their argument is, why you can grow so much faster with shorts. And especially with
an audience that doesn't give a shit about you.
I'm gonna get there. And especially with my content that I'm struggling so much with packaging. He's like, you should just go all in on shorts and TikTok and just do that. And I was like, I totally get where you're coming from. I feel like it works for very specific. Not specific for lots of different types of content, but I don't think it's a good thing to only do. I think
works for people who only care about how much attention they can get.
Ooh, no, but that's where because it kind of shook me for a little bit. I was like, it's kind of true. It's so much easier to get traction on platforms like TikTok, but I think for growing a long-term brand, obviously long format is way better at actually creating some sort of bond with the audience. They actually get to see who you are more, and you get to give more value, I think, to be honest.
Do you think that TikTokers who don't transition to YouTube are going to have careers that last a decade?
For the vast majority, no. I think it's.
Do you think that short form vertical video creators? Do you think short form vertical video creators that don't transition to long form horizontal content are going to have a decade-long career, a strong decade-long career where they stay relevant?
I think the vast.
They're going to have a hard time transitioning.
There's definitely going to be the ones at the top that everyone talks about that will, but I think the vast
ding ding
majority
ding ding
of
ding
people won't.
Ding, 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 ding. Whereas even if you don't grow big and blow up, you can make a full-time living on YouTube with 25,000 subscribers, and you could do that, and you could have a long career, and you could eventually get to 100,000, or even if you don't, you could have a full-time YouTube career, not even get to 100,000. It is not possible to have a full long-term career at less than 100,000 on TikTok, or 100,000 or even 1 million as a shorts creator. You will not be able to survive as an adult that has a comfortable lifestyle doing that. Not for a number of years. You can have a really good run for 3 years, maybe 5. And we still, those, by the way, those creators still don't know what a world, every creator hyping up shorts and TikTok, by the way, every creator hyping up shorts and TikTok has not spent 5 years as a creator successfully in a world where there wasn't a pandemic.
True. Yeah, I think there's, like, I have a couple people that I know / friends who have gotten other opportunities through TikTok. And I think that's something that I keep seeing. It's like, brand deals and stuff on TikTok exist and are great. But for like long-term strategy with a platform like TikTok, I think the coolest thing is connections. Because I've had friends who have, like, for example, there's this one girl who's a fashion designer that I met. And she's now she was like a student, and she basically met people through TikTok, and now she's working as a stylist or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, you got those opportunities through TikTok. Will you be a TikToker forever? No, you're probably gonna be a stylist, which is awesome.
Which is awesome if that's how you want to use it to get into the industry in a career. But here's the thing: Viper didn't need to blow up and be big on Twitter, YouTube, and Clubhouse is probably his biggest platform at this point, and he doesn't have 10,000 in any of his platforms, and he's probably more well connected than almost any of those. Like, as nice as it is, at least within the YouTube community, he's there's no, you probably know people who are huge TikTokers. They're not nearly as connected to as many big YouTubers and OG YouTubers as Viper is.
For sure.
And they don't have any, and Viper doesn't have any of their clout. And he's better connected than all of them.
Well, it's even like, what even is, clout on TikTok if you're not one of the largest people, like
it's the fact that they can say they have 100,000 or 1 million or 4 million followers. Here's the thing: you and I personally know people who have millions of followers in TikTok. What's it really doing for them? And even if they're getting brand deals, well, how much are they making?
Dude, it would be so interesting to have my neighbor on this podcast. The one with 4.5. He just hit 1 mil on YouTube, only doing shorts, basically. But his stuff is so skits.
He hit 1 million subscribers on YouTube. He hit 1 million subscribers on YouTube. And he's got how many on TikTok?
4.5.
And which one of us do you think makes more money?
I mean, that's not even a question. That's why I feel like it'd be super interesting to talk to him, because he comes from a completely different But
how old is he?
I don't know. He's like my age or something.
Okay, right. So here's the thing. If you're in your 20s, you know what's a lot of money in your 20s? Even in California, it feels like a lot of money. $50,000, $60,000, even in California where it shouldn't, feels like a lot of money when you're in your 20s. Hell, when you're in your 20s, $50,000 feels like being rich. $100,000 feels like being rich. But the thing is, give that 10 or 15 years or have a kid, and it's not a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's a very small amount. It's less. It's certainly not enough at that point. Or get yourself an actual staff or team that wants to make a living wage, and then making 100, 150 ain't a lot of money when other people have to eat. And that's my issue with a lot of young influencers is they don't have they don't respect money. They respect clout more than they respect cash. They don't have a healthy respect for money. And I think it's partly due to an era of growing up where everything is free.
Yeah.
They don't have to spend money to be on YouTube. They might not have to spend money to make their TikToks, or not a lot of it. Or again, what's a lot of money to them may vary. That's the thing about it, is I think that a lot of young people, it's not to be ageist or anything, but you understand this, Audrey, because you and I have had conversations about a lot of these things. You understand my perspective. I just became a homeowner. I've lived long enough to understand, and I've lived through being 20 and not respecting money enough, even being poor. Like I understand in hindsight that over the years, I didn't understand what money was. And the thing is, if you combine success in your youth with not having a healthy respect for money, I think that leads to valuing attention and clout as currency a lot more. And you're out in LA, so I'm sure you kind of see what I'm talking about, where people think that where they trade in on that. But here's the thing. That currency is not universal because it only matters to people it matters to. Money matters to everybody.
True. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of why when I was, had that conversation with my friend, I was kind of just doubled down on my strategy of doing both because, I don't know, I think it's good to use shorts as like a way to get new eyes, but if you're going to actually, I think the biggest thing is like actually having an audience who cares a little bit about you to create like a long-term brand. And it's not just like, because, that's like the way to do this long term is to build something that lasts and that you can grow and stuff. And I don't know. I think that comes from making longer videos.
It does. And the thing is, there's proof in the pudding of it. Here's the other thing. YouTube has proven time and time again that also is what is valued monetarily. The amount of money you make for long form content versus shorts is astronomically different. And even in that long form content, 5-minute videos are not worth what 10-minute videos are, and 10-minute videos aren't worth what 20-minute videos are, and 20-minute videos are not worth what an hour-long video is worth. And it's not even close. And you guys have seen enough of my back end, my analytics data, and I've been very transparent about the money side of this for that. And the thing is, it's like clout is like, here's the thing. If I ask somebody, all right, let me ask you, you're, and this is no disrespect to your friend, and I'm not really speaking for them. I bet you your friend would much rather have 10 million views on a short than 100 million views. Oh, sorry, not 100 million. Sorry. Your friend would rather have 10 million views on a short than 100,000 views on a 1 hour long podcast, right?
Probably.
Tell me something. How much money do you think the comparable difference is in terms of the value of a podcast? If a podcast can get 100,000 views, do you really think that 10 million views on a short or a TikTok, or even 10 million views on a short, a TikTok, and a reel combined, do you think 30 million views on short vertical videos is even close to the value in terms of how much money you would make on an hour-long podcast that gets 100,000 views?
Probably not. I mean, it depends with the video.
It's no way in hell. It's no way in hell. Because in most categories, and for how long an hour-long podcast is, first of all, on 100,000 views on an hour-long podcast, let's take my podcast, for example. My podcast does not get 100,000 views, but if it did, if my podcast gets 100,000 views, it's going to have a $20 to $40 CPM on 100,000 views. So you know that's literally at that point thousands of dollars. It's thousands of dollars there. So that's like $2,000. Yeah, that's like $2,000 on one episode of a podcast. $2,000. There's no way in hell to make $2,000 on 10 million on shorts. It's like you will make, maybe if you're lucky, if you get 10 million views on a short, you'd be lucky to clear $120.
Do you think shorts are gonna stick around with YouTube in terms of how they're like just really working right now?
They're not working for everybody.
Yeah, I know, but just in general, do you think it's gonna keep growing?
They're not working for the majority of people that are posting them. Most shorts don't go viral, just like most YouTube videos don't go viral.
Yeah.
And there's not actually really a consistent rhyme or reason in terms of shorts performance. I'm watching someone who literally in less than a month, went to 1 million subscribers in less than a month. off of sports trick shot type videos and stuff like that. And it's like, get 2 million views, or you can get 70,000 views on shorts. It's not consistent, and you can't make a living that way. Not a reasonable one.
Yeah.
You'd make more of a living being a 50,000 subscribed channel that was making weekly videos that were long form, or doing multiple videos a week doing commentary. You'd make more money as a mid-tier creator than a viral shorts creator. The difference is all the clout and network you theoretically get off of a gold play button. But how much is that worth? Because again, like, oh, you're invited to the party and then you're too broke to go on the trips and the vacation with the network. How is that going to work out? Like, think about it. Imagine getting all this clout, getting all this status, and being around all these elite people that also have gold play buttons, but because you did it through shorts or something like that, you literally are the broke friend in the friend group. It's like, how useful is the clout then? How useful is it to be the brokest person in the elite and to be the charity case? How valuable is that? Because your content doesn't generate revenue.
Yeah. That's so true.
It's also, again, when you're in your 20s, you might think 2,000 on a brand deal for getting millions of views sounds amazing and everything like that. It's not. The brand made out like a bandit.
The perspective. I'm like, hell.
No, but Audrey, you know this. The brand will make up with like a bandit, because the thing is, you know that you haven't had to get those views to get that kind of money. You've been able to do that without those kind of views.
You.
Imagine like haggling with brand. You're getting all this attention for the brand, because think about it. The brand, even if it's a short form video, the brand is getting all this exposure to millions of people, and you're getting paid the same thing as like YouTubers who get a couple of tens of thousands of views. You gave the brand millions. The brands make out like bandits, underpricing short form content creators, and it's like, and people are just happy because they know they're not making a ad revenue, so they're, oh, at least I'm getting paid for my work. And it's just valuing. They value attention too much, and they're devaluing the attention that the brand bought into. And it's just, to me, it's this weird thing of, no, I would not make shorts and get a million. If I had a guarantee that I would get a gold play button by just doing shorts, I'd still never do it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it. I would just grind like I'm doing now. And I'd rather, look, if I have, like, it's just like the conversation the other day. What do you want 10 million subscribers or $10 million? $10 million. And it's not even close. Are you kidding? Or will you stand to make more if you have 10 million subscribers? It's like there are plenty of YouTubers that have 10 million subscribers and don't have a 10 million net worth. So don't play me.
Yeah, I don't really understand the people who.
I know plenty of YouTubers with 1 million subscribers that are broker than me.
I don't understand the people who answer that question with they'd rather have the subscribers.
Well, when we take the number even down to 1 million subscribers versus $1 million, you've seen my polls. Everyone would rather have the 1 million subscribers. Like, it was like 70-30. Everyone wanted 1 million subscribers instead of $1 million. And they're all convinced that they're so clever that they can turn 1 million subscribers into $1 million. Oh, you're more clever than all these YouTubers who have 5 million and are broke or make less money than I do. I know YouTubers with 5 million subscribers that make less money than me.
Let alone 1 million.
And they live in California.
Let alone 1 million. Yeah.
And it's like, and I'm not trying to brag. I'm saying this is bad. I'm trying to explain. Stop glamorizing our industry and thinking that clout is by proxy riches, because a lot of people forego their riches in order to have attention instead. Yeah. And a lot of people in our industry are underpricing themselves, criminally underpricing themselves. There are people with hundreds of thousands and millions of subscribers. They're getting paid half of what they should be getting paid on their brand deals. I see it all the time. I've got people sliding into my DMs every week, and I go, you're getting screwed. They're like, it's bad. It's tragic. It's like, and the thing is, I don't even think that they're being taken advantage of as much as I think so many of them have underpriced so badly that they're spoiling the brands, and it's tanking the market, frankly. I think people are undervaluing the market in the creator economy a lot of times because they don't know any better, or because it's a lot of money for them, even though it's not a lot of money for what they're providing.
Facts.
So yeah, I mean, I think that the whole thing with like YouTube, sure. Here's the thing, like I mean, the biggest YouTubers. Have you noticed that the biggest YouTubers either aren't doing shorts or they make a different channel?
Right.
Look at Marquez, look at Mr. Beast, look at PewDiePie, look at Mr. Who's the Boss. You got all these people, and they have insider knowledge, and they're much bigger, and they're like huge, and they've got like 10 million plus subscribers, and they ain't messing around with switching their strategy to shorts. And you could argue, oh well, they don't need to. It's like, you don't think that they'd like to just blow up even more, or that some of them with 5 million don't want to get to 10 million or whatever, and they know that, oh well, you get a bunch of subscribers off of shorts. Yeah, but you don't get people who are invested in the content, like, or rather invested in the creator in a real way, and it doesn't bleed enough over to the. Now it can be a good strategy. I've had friends revive their dead channels with shorts, but you know what happens? No one watch the people they get off of their shorts, and they'll get millions of views on their shorts, and it doesn't translate to people watching more of their long form content.
I wonder what the strategy to getting people to watch long videos would be.
That just came in from shorts, or period?
Just who came in from shorts.
There isn't one.
Is it just, I don't know, because I was thinking like, I don't know. I haven't actually tested this yet. In a couple months, I'll hopefully have some more experience.
If you go and you look at, because here's the thing, if all you are trying to do, the best execution of it, like, and again, I think you should mix. I think you should mix and match. You know why? Colin and Samir, great channel, and they're doing it perfectly. But here's the thing. Excuse me. They make content about other people for the most part. They can do shorts, medium, and long videos because they also have access to something that most people don't, actually filming videos about with the creators that they're talking about. So they have the collab aspect of that, and it reinforces you can only get this here. So they have something you can only get on their channel, which is these exclusive interviews with the creators you care about. They're doing shorts around those people, and then they also are doing relevant stories that are medium form content.
Sorry, I'm getting distracted.
What are we getting distracted by?
With the
chat?
dude in chat.
What is it? The chat?
I called him out for being the guy who said my cake looks like mashed potatoes last time. And now he's dragging me in the chat.
For what?
He's not dragging you. You're dragging him. What are you talking about? He's just defending himself. Don't.
He said I should look up some foolproof cake recipes. Nothing was wrong with my cake. Goddamn.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. The cake is a lie.
Yeah, the cake is a lie. Speaking of things that are wrong or maybe not wrong, is Stranger Things is coming to an end. This kind of ties into what we were talking about, because allegedly, the creators of Stranger Things came out with an announcement today saying that they had always planned to end the story at season 4, season 5. Depending on how long it took, it would be around that time. Officially, it's going to end with season 5. So we are going to get a season 4, and it's going to be split up into 2 volumes. Volume 1, and then a couple months later, volume 2 is going to be released.
Do you believe them when they say that they planned it from the beginning?
So there's a little bit of, I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, because I think that having an end to a start is a good thing. Especially with TV shows. Like, I feel like a lot of them just drag out for such a long time that it's really admirable when there's a very final storytelling position, right? And so I think that they are planning on coming out with season 5, and then they're just going to end the whole thing. Obviously, it's not the end for the universe, the Stranger Things universe, because they'll come out with other things, anthologies and shorts, and who knows what
But
else.
for the main storyline with the main characters,
right? For the series as we know it is coming to an end. And how do you guys feel about the ending of series like that? Do you think that they should be planned, or is it something?
Oh, what?
Wow.
I think they should be planned. I think they should be planned to some way. I think sometimes things go too long and jump the shark, and I'd rather you do sequels or spin-offs of series. And I think a good successful run of it is, people might think like this is an insane thing. I think Buffy the Vampire Slayer went too long, and I think that the appropriate version of it was the spirit. I think Supernatural went on too long. Here's a show that got it right. The Vampire Diaries, they went on a little long, but they were smart enough to end it, but co-run spin-offs. And so they did the originals, and that was actually good. And they did that for like 4 or 5 seasons, ended that, and then they did Legacies. And that makes sense that they're literally on their 3rd in-universe series that is a continuation and follows the children of the main characters. And the thing is, those children were like kind of brought into the series like born on screen type situation, and then we get to do time skips and time jumps in a way that makes sense, and to where there's a connection and there's lore and there's world building. So like that makes sense. I think that series that drag on too long, or writers that can't deliver, I think that everyone should avoid being Game of Thrones season 8.
The problem is, and this is something that was brought in the chat by Chris, a lot of producers will require writers and showrunners to give them the show end during the initial pitch before they ever even get greenlit.
That's a good
But
idea.
the problem is that when a show is popular, yes, that ending exists. It's there in the map, but they take a lot of routes to get there because the show is really successful and they don't want to end it too soon. And so that's when we get...
I don't think there's any such thing as ending a series too soon if you have a definitive ending and you can get there in a reasonable way. Game of Thrones...
But if
Game
they have really high
with
ratings, they don't want to end it. And that's why they keep it going.
Well, the thing is, the only time you can end a series too soon is when the story doesn't justify getting to the ending. When it's not when the points don't connect to deserve or manifest that ending. Game of Thrones should have ended in one of 2 ways. It should have ended with us never getting the ending, meaning that it should have ended with Jon Snow meeting Daenerys Targaryen, and then we're just headcanon after that. Or we read the books. It should have ended basically about where the books are, and then let us have headcanon, and then they could bring it back later and just go off of the books once the books are finished, right? They should have either went that way, or since they did guess the ending from George and they had his notes, they should have just given it 2 more seasons, do X amount of years as planned, and justified the end result by having the proper storytelling to bridge where they were in season 7 to the ending. And I think that would have taken them going to a season 9 or 10, to be honest. So you do have to justify your ending. You should begin with the end in mind, but you shouldn't take shortcuts, and you shouldn't you have to justify your ending, in my opinion. And so and George does know how to end the books. The only thing that's stopping him is the way the show went, because he was fine. He was going to be able to end the books, but there has to be a justified way to get to the ending of something. And books are a great example, because even I was around back when Robert Jordan was still alive, and I worked at a bookstore, and we all, even back then, years and years ago, we knew he was going to pass away before he finished the Wheel of Time series, because to justify getting to the ending, it was going to require more books than he had left of life to live. And he had a successor planned, and he had his wife give his successor all of his notes and access to spending time with her to get into his head and where his headspace was, and that was Brandon Sanderson. Brandon Sanderson continued the work of Robert Jordan. So, and even with my favorite author, David Gemmell, his wife was able to use his notes to finish his third book in a series. Out of his 20-something books, he wrote multiple series, and they weren't interconnected, so to speak. And she finished off his Troy trilogy for him after he passed, because she knew him well enough. And even though they were divorced and she had all his notes and they were still good friends, she was able to finish his book for him. You have to have a way to end a story, and you should start. It won't always work out this way, but you should theoretically start with the end in mind. And I think books are a good example.
Yeah. Do you know how the phrasing "jump the shark" came into?
Wasn't it literally because of Happy Days with the fawns literally jumping over a shark?
Yeah. It was an episode.
I remember that episode.
Yeah, it was an episode in which the Fonz is on, I think it was on a lake. It was like a summer vacation type thing. And then he's like doing flips and stuff. And then he goes up this ramp and then he just like jumps over a literal shark.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was at that point that everyone was like, oh, yeah, maybe the show should like not exist anymore.
Wow.
And so now whenever a show or something has overstayed its welcome, it has jumped the shark, and that's the origin of that. I, for one, am pretty happy that Stranger Things is officially announced. Like, this is it. This is the end.
I'm the kind of dude to launch a show and show you in episode 1 the series finale. And then everything else is just 5 years earlier. I would literally start a show with a countdown to oblivion.
I feel like there's a specific amount of seasons that is good. Normally it's around like the 4 to 5 mark before they start to go downhill. So I have never watched an episode of Stranger Things, so I don't really know, but I'm just assuming that the 5 mark is a good spot to end it.
Yeah. I mean,
here's the thing. As a producer director, I also think you should just, like, regardless of whatever happens with your cast, have the balls to finish the story the way that you started and everything like that. I mean, I don't like unless your actor literally murders somebody, I don't care about if they're being canceled. If they're not in jail or dead, you just finish the damn story and you owe that to the fans. They want to do something or an act of contrition, match their salary and donate it to a charity. I believe the phrasing is the show must go on. Exactly so.
Oh.
The show must go on.
Wait, did you guys watch Euphoria?
Just like
No.
I've started it. Just like I'm saying, just like match somebody's, say, look, we're going to finish the show as intended. We're not disrupting this thing. We're not going to let other people, cast and crew, who did nothing wrong lose their jobs or it affect their careers. No, it's like we're going on with the show, as if nothing else of this happened. And the only thing we're going to do is we're going to match the actor's salary to a charity that addresses the cause that affects whatever it is they did or didn't do or were accused of or allegedly or whatever the nonsense is. Just be done with it.
The reason why I brought up the Euphoria thing is because there's been some
movies. Unless it's a movie franchise, I feel differently about. If it's a single film, different. But if it's a franchise, same. I have the same ruling. But go on.
No, I was just gonna say because it's sort of like what you're talking about if there's like a problem to just keep going.
Yeah.
Like with the Euphoria thing, there's been some like rumors of actors, I guess, getting into or just disagreeing with like the director or something, and it's literally impacting the plot in a way that is pretty noticeable. Like there's a character specifically who's basically being written out of the story, but she's like still kind of there, and it's kind of like it feels super out of place. And I was talking to my roommates about this. I was like, I don't
put things in people's contracts to where it's like no.
Yeah, because I understand that. Like,
is that what your contract is going to look like, Roberto?
Yeah.
Just no.
My contract will have a provision that literally self-destructs your career if you mess around with the
Oh
plot.
my god.
Wow. Okay. Remind
It's
me
like,
to never
okay, you
sign
want to have
anything
feelings?
you
It's
hate.
like you want to have feelings about things. It's like if you mess with the plot and if you betray the fans and you mess with the plot, it's like, congratulations, I hope it's worth your whole career. like and I'm being facetious here, but here's the thing. I think the fans deserve better than they're getting in a lot of these cases and everything like that. The fans get invested in these stories. The fans make these things popular. The fans make these things work, and the fans shouldn't have to pay for shenanigans. I don't agree with that. I think professionals should commit to following through. That's how I feel. I think the fans deserve better. The fans make it all happen. The fans put people on. The fans deserve better. They should get to come first at some point.
Maybe.
In most cases.
I mean, so there's obviously within reason.
Right. Degrees. Yeah.
There's degrees of reason. But I'm saying it's like, but here's the thing. I grew up in an era where people soldiered on and like they, I mean, all right, you get the original Star Wars. There was so much drama. There was so much drama in the original Star Wars off camera and everything. If you read the interviews and the stories and you read about it. But here's the thing. You'd never know that for the way that the original trilogy went off. You'd never know that.
The show must go on.
Exactly. The show must go. There's so many things where cast and this and that and disagreements with George.
Yeah.
And
I mean, look how much drama
everyone was a professional. Go on.
I said, look how much drama we have.
We have none.
No, we air it publicly.
Oh, well, whatever.
Literally, the drama we have is seen on this podcast.
Oh, the minimal amount.
Yeah.
I just said I love the drama when Romina yells at Roberto over text to hurry up. It's super intense.
No, it's like it's a running, recurring theme.
It's a little bit of drama.
Yeah.
I mean,
Audio version, yeah.
The audio version.
No.
I just turned it out. I turned the tables. I just turned the tables.
The turntables.
God damn.
Yeah, but like no, but I'm just for real. I'm like the audience. I think because here's the thing. Haven't you like every one of you has a show that you feel betrayed you? Like what's a show that betrayed you, Romina?
Heroes. I felt like Heroes kind of.
Yes. Oh.
What happened?
Oh yes. Yes.
What happened?
Yeah.
What didn't happen? You think
I'm
jumping
so
the shark is bad?
Oh, I'm so angry. You done awoken something, Romina, bringing up Heroes. I was invested. I am so angry on so many levels. So many. But yes, Heroes. Absolutely.
Yes.
Heroes broke my damn heart.
Heroes did have the writer strike. That was one of the reasons.
But that's not the worst of it. And that's like, like when they got done with all of that.
I was obsessed with this show. All right.
I was a Heroes truther,
so
like
cool.
deeply invested. The puzzles, the conspiracy, the website games, all I was in. I could tell you everything about Peter Petrelli, Siler, freaking Mohinder, all of it. I could tell you everything about this show. I could tell you everything about how Hiro Nakamura's powers work. I could tell you all of it. I was in. And I was all about, I was all about shipping some, time skip adult Micah and Molly Walker though. Like everybody was in on that one.
4 seasons.
How did they mess up that badly in 4 seasons?
Oh my God.
Audrey, sometimes you start off strong. Sometimes you start off strong and it's just like you start at
if
the
you're
top
going
of the hill.
to if your show is got it, like if your show is going to involve time travel, you better have written the ending.
That's true. I feel like you've seen the 100, right?
Yes.
Have you seen you saw the end of the show?
Yes.
So dumb. It was a
betrayal.
Horrible. It was just awful. Like they killed some of the main characters for literally no reason because there was again problems on set.
That show, I was invested in that show too.
Like it just got awful at the end. The ending was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. It was.
I am so angry right now.
They literally ran out of things to do.
Like, oh my god!
Completely ran out of things to do.
Oh my god! The show had so much promise. The premise was amazing. So angry. So angry. You know what show they did recently that knew? All right, I'm ending here. I'm good. The Lost in Space show that they did on Netflix did right.
I watched that. I was like, thank God this ended. Not in like a mean way, but in the like, it would have just been
Audrey
bad.
was like,
if they had given it one more season, they would have screwed it up. One more season and they would have screwed it up. I swear to God.
Sometimes it's good for it to just stop.
I do like the shows that just kind of like we're good. You know, we did the thing and we did it right. And just let it be what it is, you know?
Buffy the Vampire Slayer betrayed me and the entire like fan base. Like it's like Buffy and Angel betrayed all of us and strung us along and gave us the least satisfying payoff possible. It was ridiculous. It was damn ridiculous. It was ridiculous. Like, and obviously Game of Thrones betrayed the fans.
I think Game of Thrones betrayed
humanity.
A lot of, yeah.
Betrayed George, betrayed humanity, betrayed us all.
I mean, pretty much. Betrayed entertainment as a whole.
Betrayed the industry.
Betrayed the industry, the craft.
Yeah. Betrayed the craft. Betrayed the craft. Do you think Dan and Dave will have, because like they got kicked off of their Star Wars contract over it. Like, the thing is, they cheapened Game of Thrones to go, oh yeah, we're gonna go play in Star Wars now, and then they're like, oh yeah, we're yanking that. Like, do you really think that they have a future? Well, shows that ended well. All right, let's talk about shows that ended well. Well, Lost in Space.
Oh yeah,
Lost in Space ended well.
Downton Abbey. I just finished watching Downton Abbey.
Oh, it's done. I can watch it now.
Yeah. I watched all of it. I think it was 6 seasons, and then a movie. And I watched the movie, and then there's another movie that's coming out in March. But I feel like they tied it up really nicely for something that is, I mean, like with historical dramas, it can go on forever, right? Because like you're starting at a year, and like literally you can just keep going until the end of time.
I'm good with how Reign ended. Reign on the CW. You know, Mary Queen of Scots. I actually, it's on Netflix now. It's like, actually, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
The CW actually does a fairly decent job of ending shows. One that they drug out too long, but I'm satisfied with how they ended. I'm not satisfied with all the seasons in between. I think they should have probably stopped it, like figured out ending the series where they wanted to, but at season 7. Smallville, and the way they ended it, and the way that they paid off, tying up basically all loose ends, and this very emotional, satisfying thing, and the way they brought back Jonathan Kent's character to give him the suit and to tell his son to go into the world and do good. Like Smallville can make me tear up. There are entire episodes of Smallville that could make me tear up. Smallville was great, and I love the way that show ended.
I'm probably biased here, but I'm going to say Voyager.
Of course.
I feel like it didn't go on for too long, but then also it was entertaining. They kept the same tone throughout, which was just entertaining. And then it had a nice little ending. So I think that one kind of, I'm pretty happy with how all that one
The
turned
Clone
out.
Wars animated series
The
when they brought back the final season, the Clone Wars animated. Oh, and I cried. There were episodes where I cried.
Yep.
Like, yes.
Yep.
Yep.
I mean,
you didn't finish the ending of Small. You have to finish
you
Vegeta
gotta
art. You
finish
have to finish Smallville.
Smallville.
It's so good. And the shame
Audrey,
what
what
happened
do
with
you-
Allison Mack.
What about you? What about you, Audrey? Do you have any shows that you think ended well?
I don't watch too many TV shows.
Right,
You've
that's
watched a
why I'm
couple
bringing you
Netflix
into
series.
the conversation.
The
you've
one
watched a
that
couple.
I have watched literally is like not ended well. AK the 100 is one that
Audrey's a harsh critic.
really let down.
No, I agree with her about the 100. We in solidarity on that.
It was just awful.
Like I agree with her with the 100, and I got angry about that, and you with Heroes, and I got angry. Oh yeah, y'all channeled my freaking rage and aggression on that one. So,
We're bringing
like
it up.
the shows I'm watching are still going. Like
oh, have you watched Scandal, Audrey?
No.
Oh, I started watching it.
Oh, I won't say anything. I am satisfied with the ending. I'm not as satisfied with every season of Scandal, but I am satisfied with the ending, and I'm satisfied. And Papa Pope's ending speech is my favorite villain monologue of all time. Papa Pope's monologue at the end of Scandal. I haven't watched The New Girl. I'm gonna watch it from beginning to end. Papa Pope and his monologue. Romina, would it spoil it for you if I just send you just Papa Pope's monologue at the end of Scandal?
No.
Because like it's the single greatest dressing down I've ever seen in my life of just like wrecking people, like letting people know I got you. And it's like, oh, what are you going to do about it? It was like, it's the ultimate, oh, I've won. You like, what are you going to do about it? It's, oh my God, Papa Pope, man. Oh, you know what's one that I wasn't entirely satisfied with how it ended, because I'm like, it just should have kept going. The Newsroom. Newsroom should have kept going.
Oh, I thought of one that I was not happy with, and that's Scrubs.
Yeah.
Scrubs kind of dragged on for a little bit too long.
Yeah.
And then they tried to bring it back.
I know. Yeah. Scrubs went too long, and Scrubs just got to be too childish. Like, it just got to be too much.
And then
you know what else went too long? You know
we're
what else?
coming back.
You know what else went too long? Community.
Well, speaking of things that are going too long.
Well, we have a third topic, and then we can wrap up the show. So,
what did Elon do this time?
Nothing.
What hasn't he done?
Nothing but good. He's done nothing but good. Elon's been a good boy. He's done nothing wrong. Elon Musk does nothing wrong.
I do not. That sentence needs to be banned.
Here we
Elon
go.
Musk did nothing
Roberto
wrong.
simping for Elon.
I'm simping for the world's richest man, and I will continue to simp for the world's richest man because he's a once in a lifetime brainiac and is literally out here literally saving humanity from itself and its poor ignorant choices, and it doesn't get nearly enough credit for it. And no, being the richest man in the world is not a big enough reward. It's like,
wait, what did he do?
So on top of paying the largest single tax bill that has ever been paid in U.S. history, and then still being called a freeloader by our worthless politicians, specifically Senators Sanders and Warren, like
just throwing out names.
Oh, I have no problem shading politicians. It's like, no, I have no problem. They're my employees. They're on payroll. I deserve to critique their performance and everything, and I find them wanting. And if it were up to me, they'd be fired. So there's that. I pay their salary. I get to critique them. I get to criticize them. I get to tell them that they're doing a really bad effing job. And now on the other hand, Elon Musk, who yes, is the world's richest man as a consequence of his net worth, not his income. He doesn't make an income anymore. His net worth is entirely tied to the success of his companies. If his companies fail, he's broke. Okay? If his companies fail, he's broke. That's it. And the thing is, if his reputation is destroyed, that's it. There's not really anything. There's no riding off into the sunset. Like, he's all in on a vision. Most people do not have the cojones for that. And for most people, it's not a reasonable thing. And he's all in on a business that billionaire brainiac Charlie Munger, one of the greatest investors of all time, told him was a bad idea. Imagine sitting down with your rich grandfather and telling him that you have a dream and that you want him to have your back on this. And he's telling you all the reasons that will fail, dressing you down, talking down to you. And then at the end, you're like, you know what, Grandpa, I even agree with you about every single thing you said. And yeah, I probably will fail and my company will probably die. But isn't this dream worth at least trying in the unlikely occasion that I should succeed? Isn't it worth trying to do this? Doesn't it make the world a better place if I do succeed? Is failing so bad that I shouldn't even try? And like that's real. That's a real thing. And the thing is, the company almost did die. But the thing is, it's moved forward the innovation of electric vehicles in such a way that we actually have a meaningful timeline for addressing the impact of carbon emissions and man-made climate change from our motor vehicles. And it's a revolution and something that would not have happened without Elon and without Tesla, because the fact is, the oil industry and the car industry were content to just keep on milking fossil fuels and taking government subsidies. And yeah, Elon took one too, but he's the only one criticized for taking government subsidies as far as a car manufacturer. Ford and GM aren't, but Elon's the only one who paid his back early with interest, paid off the early payoff penalty on top of that. And then he doesn't get credit from President Biden until just now. He finally said it. Finally, after constantly talking about EVs and innovation, he finally mentions Tesla. But like, the companies he was praising haven't even put out an electric vehicle that you can buy. And he praised everyone but Tesla. Imagine starting a revolution, being the leader in your industry, forcing these other car manufacturers to take electric vehicles and climate change seriously after benefiting from fossil fuels and the oil cartel all this time, happily doing it, making no progress, no innovation. You come in, you disrupt them, you come for their necks, you almost go under doing it, you risk it all, and then you're not even given so much as a acknowledgement of your accomplishment for all the risk that you've done, because people decide to hate on you because you're a billionaire, and you're only a billionaire because you literally built one of the best companies in the world, and you literally changed the world and the way people do business, and you actually gave people hope that we're not going to literally just keep polluting indefinitely to get from point A to point B. I mean, come on, man. This is ridiculous. And he gets so much criticism, so much hate, and he paid the biggest tax. They say, oh, not paying taxes, not paying, like, people saying that. The funny thing is, I'm not that mad at regular, ordinary people for not understanding the tax code. I'm not mad at ordinary people for not understanding the tax code. I'm mad when politicians who wrote the damn tax code pretend that Elon did something wrong by not paying taxes when they wrote a tax code that says, well, you spent so much money back into your company, back into research and development, back into expansion, back into employee salaries, and you took so many losses over these previous years that you were unprofitable and your company almost died, that you don't have to pay taxes. They know that. They know better. They wrote the code. They know there was nothing wrong or shady about it because they wrote the law. Or if it's so bad, why didn't you write a better law then? Because that's your job. And so what? Someone's wrong for taking advantage of the laws that you wrote. They're the villain in this story for doing what you said is legal. That's ridiculous. So these people, I don't blame ordinary people for not understanding the tax code. I blame politicians who wrote it for lying and then trying to paint someone as the villain for following the law that they wrote. That's ridiculous. That's like making somebody a criminal and then punishing them for committing a crime. For doing a crime. It's like you literally wrote a law to criminalize them and then punish them for it. That's ridiculous. In this case, you wrote a law saying that you do this, you're in compliance with the law, and then say, well, why are you obeying the law? You're immoral for obeying the law that I wrote because you should do more. It's like you wrote a law that said I didn't have to do anything. Well, you should do more anyway because you have so much. You wrote a law that said I didn't have to. Why would it, like, why am I being punished for this? Why is my accountant being punished for doing their job? That's ridiculous. And the thing is, he calls them out. He plays chicken with them, and I love and respect that. But here's the other thing. The dude just donated about, what is it, $5 billion, $6 billion worth of stock to charity. And everyone said, oh, he should donate more. He should donate more. He could solve world hunger for $6 billion. No one can solve world hunger for $6 billion, or they would do that. And it's so funny that everyone thinks that the problem will be solved by just throwing all this money at it. Do you know that with all everyone thinks about, it's like, I ended up putting it into perspective. The $11 billion that Elon paid in taxes is 1/3 of the money that we waste on non-violent drug offenders being incarcerated every single year. Not in total, every single year we spend about over $30 billion in incarcerating non-violent drug offenders for as little as a dime bag. That's what we do, and it's absurd. It's absurd. It's obscene that we spend that kind of money. Elon will cover 1/3 of our yearly budget for the prison industrial complex that we don't need to be spending on. And as for the $5 or $6 billion he donated, no one will talk about the fact that in 2020, Americans donated $490 billion to charity in 2020. Okay. If we were going to, if taxing billionaires and criticizing billionaires solved poverty, how the hell didn't we solve poverty already? We have a $30 trillion deficit. We have a $30 trillion deficit. We are collecting trillions a year. Every year that I've been alive, we've been collecting hundreds of billions to trillions of dollars every year that I've been alive. And we have not solved poverty in perpetuity. You could confiscate the entire $4 trillion of wealth of all the American billionaires, and you still would come up short because you only would pay off 15% of our current deficit. It would still only be the amount of money they printed in the last 2 years. And you still wouldn't make a dent in the problem, because the real problem is you can't just keep blaming people and scapegoating the smartest people in the world for the fact that you can't manage money efficiently to solve problems. And you're not empowering people to solve their problems, because anyone wanted to empower anyone in this country to solve problems, they would do more small business loans, especially in underprivileged communities of color. They would do zero interest small business loans. They would address the predatory lending that creates student loan debt in the first place, and they would change that. The government actually profits off of the student loan debt, and most people don't realize that they profit along with the banks. They never cap the interest rates on those student loans as a condition of backing them. And the thing is, because they could have put a profit cap in perpetuity on that, and then we wouldn't have $1 trillion of student loan debt in this massive crisis with that. They've literally criminalized poverty. If you look at our our criminal justice system, if you look at cash bail, you look at all these issues, these things are solvable, and they don't cost hundreds of billions or trillions of dollars to fix. They don't address the fundamental gaps in our education, and that teachers should be paid more. But they've managed to subvert all of the criticism that they could have for all of that, so that they can focus on Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and other billionaires that they want to criticize, who in many cases have done more significant to change the lives of every American at scale than your elected officials and politicians have. And it makes no damn sense to me. And I don't mean to make this like massively, Roberto and his politics. And I'm looking at it from the lens of, I'm looking at marketing and media manipulation, because I'm looking at the fact that there's no integrity and there's no dealing in facts. And the facts are this. The facts are that Elon Musk, like just about everybody, is paying the legally required minimal amount of tax. You can't just say that it's immoral to make money, because money is just a measurement and acknowledgement of the exchange of value that you have. If you have hundreds of thousands of customers or millions of customers and you make a high-end product, yes, you will make billions of dollars. If you build a great company or invest in a great company, and that company has hundreds of millions or hundreds of thousands of satisfied customers, and if they're high income, then yes, you will make billions of dollars. That's not immoral. It's called math. It's called math. I mean, I'll give you a primary example. Everyone wants to talk about how billionaires are immoral. We talk about YouTubers and influencers all the time. Audrey, you're seeing this. You're seeing all these young people, they're influencers. They're making millions of dollars a year, $10 million a year, and so on and so forth as influencers. Most of the highest earning influencers aren't even 30 years old. Most of them are under 25. And a lot of them are making millions and millions of dollars a year. You know as well as I do, and you've seen this even with like the older people in your parents' circle and everything like that, that if you make a lot of money for decades and you invest it, it exponentially just grows and grows and grows. And they have that opportunity. Is there anything unethical about making millions of dollars as an influencer? From ad revenue and brand deals? Specifically, we're not going to talk about people who are scamming, but like if you make your money from brand deals and ad revenue and merchandise, is there anything unethical about that?
I don't think so.
So you're part of a generation that will literally probably produce the most billionaires that has ever been produced in America in a single generation. You realize that, right?
That's kind of cool.
Right. And the thing is, no one's going to be able to say they did unethically, because the thing is, if you're making 10 million a year and you've been working hard and building a brand that millions of people around the world love since you were a kid. And here's the thing. We have someone in the audience saying, how much money does someone need? It doesn't matter. And it's not your place to say that. If we can say there's a moral dictation as to how much money someone needs, why can't anybody then just govern from religion then? Because religion will say, oh, well, you don't need to do this or you don't need to do that, and you need to live an orderly life as a Christian, a Muslim, or a Jew. So if we're so interested in being governed by morality and we want ethical and moral standards, why don't we all submit to being governed by religion then? How let's have fun with that. And the answer is no, because we want freedom and autonomy. It's not about how much money you need. You don't get to dictate how much money somebody needs. It's a matter of, if I decided to give someone money, they created value for me. Like, oh, does Rihanna need to be a billionaire? Well, no. But the thing is, millions of people around the world love Rihanna's music and love Rihanna's products, and we voted with our wallet and we said Rihanna's the exchange of value. It's not somebody's place to invalidate us voting with our wallet, because here's the thing. Billionaires and millionaires exist by popular demand, and is literally the most democratic outcome there is, because you don't become a millionaire or a billionaire. Oh, people say you can't do it without exploiting people. Yes, you can. It's called you exchanged value. You exchanged value. It's not about whether your life can be improved by having 100 million or a billion. Capital allocation is a skill. Here's the thing. I want Elon Musk to have more money. I want him to be a trillionaire. Why? Because his capital allocation makes the world a better place. Elon Musk allocating capital and making decisions about that makes the world a better place. Elon Musk, $1 billion is better in Elon Musk's hands than it is in mine. And I actually have the humility to admit that. Most people do not. $1 million is still better in Elon Musk's hands than in mine. I can admit that. Everyone else can't seem to get on this board with having the humility to say that, you know what? Capital is better in the hands of people who know how to improve more lives at scale with it than not. That's what's better for humanity. That's what's better for humanity. What's better for humanity is if capital ends up consolidating around the smartest, most intelligent, most talented people in the world.
It doesn't.
And no, a
matter.
maximum wage shouldn't exist. A maximum wage shouldn't exist. A maximum wage shouldn't exist. A maximum wage existing only serves one purpose: making other people feel better is the only reason a maximum wage would exist. That is the only reason. It would only exist to make other people feel better and to give people unearned outcomes.
I don't think that we should put a cap on people's potential.
Exactly. We shouldn't put a cap on people's potential, because here's the thing. I'll tell you for real. No, people will not change the world if you put all right, here's the thing. If you put a maximum wage on people, this is about the level of human advancement, and that's it. None of our problems will get much better than this is it. This is where we stop.
It's like saying that everybody can only have 1 million subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah.
And then once you hit 1 million, that's it. You can't earn any more subscribers.
What if they put a limit on how many views you could get, and then they stop distributing your videos to new people?
What kind of upside down civilization is this?
Yeah. Why should we stop measuring the amount of value that you're exchanging with other people and stop the proportionality of the reward? Because I'll tell you the truth. We should stop worrying about people at the top, and we should actually focus our energy on why is the capacity of people on the bottom so limited? Because let's be very real. Why is the capacity of people on the bottom so limited? Because we're not focusing our attention and energy there, because it's more convenient to be envious and worry about people at the top. And the thing is, we keep pretending that there's this limit to like there's money doesn't stagnate, it circulates. And the thing is, it's about the distribution of resources is proportionate to the distribution of value and talent. It is. And I can say that as someone who literally came up broke. My capacity to earn money was proportionate to my ability to exchange value that other people wanted. That's what supply and demand is. The way that I came up from nothing was my capacity was able to be increased. Now, that largely in my case, because I was from a small town in North Carolina and a military town, largely was by virtue of just the individual qualities that exist within me. And that's not me saying to brag. It's me saying that this is the circumstance other people don't have, which is why I'm an advocate for improving education. Because if you improve education at scale and you also specialize education for learning types and for neurodiversity and all kinds of other things like that, you improve the capacity of the individual. Individualism over collectivism, individual potential, ability, and capacity. And we don't treat our people as what they are, our greatest natural resource, our greatest advantage. We don't invest in our people as citizens. And if we did that, if we focused and concentrated our efforts there, and we stop pretending that that's an issue of not having enough money, we have enough money. We don't allocate our capital that way. We don't allocate our capital. We don't allocate our capital to the individual potential of people. And then, what about the people making billions from shorting stocks? One, that's a very limited amount of people. And they're not making billions. Most of them are only making hundreds of millions at best at a given time. But they are adding value. They are adding value. Do you know why? Well, those people are able to separate other people who are not able to do pattern recognition, who seem to have disposable capital, from their money. And then what do they do with that? Well, that money, in many cases, that money doesn't just not exist or anywhere. That money is reallocated in capital. Those people who are shorting those stocks and making money, they're not sitting on that money. It's being reinvested into other companies as capital. Where do you think, like, everyone's making this mistake of thinking people are hoarding money and resources? They're not. The money is not sitting in a vault. The money is not sitting as a pile of gold guarded by dragons. The money is being reallocated into another asset, which means that it's being circulated in the form of buying stocks in another company. And when you invest in another company, that supplies the funding for the R&D and for the salaries of the employees and for the production of the products to scale. It's the allocation of capital, and that's not respected as a skill. Everyone complains actually about the people on Wall Street. They're reallocating money and investing in other companies, and they're also making assertions
the value that they're adding is the money.
Huh?
The value that they're adding is the money.
The value they're adding is the money. And again, the skill that they're displaying is the ability to do pattern recognition and to also allocate money to places that it is by their definition, but also by the measurable outcome, better spent.
There are very extreme cases. There are extreme cases. You can name.
There are outliers. You can find.
But it's a very small percentage of people. That is not the majority.
It's not the majority. And here's the thing. Funny story about that. It's not the majority. Because here's the thing. Everyone's acting as if this is the worst possible outcome. This is probably literally one of the top 10 outcomes in any timeline that we can have. They're basing that largely on their own people who look at their own circumstances and aren't happy or satisfied often assume that we're living in the worst scenario or the worst timeline. First of all, if you're in America, you should actually like take a step back and remember that you just could have been born somewhere else, and then you could really worry about how bad things are. And then number two, generally speaking, we have one of the best timelines. Do you realize there's probably a timeline where we had nuclear winter and we had World War III already? You realize that there's already probably a timeline where we went even harder on fossil fuels, or worse, we didn't have the Industrial Revolution at all, or where the Black Plague spread even more, or where we actually had volcanoes truly throw ash into the air and block out the sun, and we went through another ice age. There are worse outcomes than this. There's an outcome where Mount St. Helens like erupts. We have super volcanoes all over this country. We have there are timelines where that goes down. You know, there's timelines where 9/11 was worse. You see what I'm saying? There's worse outcomes. There's worse outcomes, and this isn't as bad as it gets. Like this, we actually have no perspective for one, the potential of how good we can make things, and we have no perspective for how bad they could have been already. Like we have no perspective on any of these things, and we also again are not looking at the simple solution here. The simple solution is that we're already allocating money poorly because we have corrupt politicians that have refused in our lifetime to improve. Why are we still on an agricultural-based education calendar? Why the hell is that even a thing? Why are we still on an education system and calendar that presumes that we have to go work the fields in the summer? That makes no sense. So not addressing that and stagnating people's potential at that level is already criminal, in my opinion. Why do we still have mass incarceration for recreational marijuana when there are so many states where literally the same thing is legal in this country? Why is that a thing? And we're allocating billions of dollars per year to that. And people then dying to think that the problem is a maximum salary cap for billionaires. Well, first of all, billionaires don't take a salary. So they aren't even a maximum wage cap wouldn't even apply to them. And it shows people are not really truly educated about any of this. And I don't fully blame them. The education system never taught them about money. How does a maximum wage gap matter when billionaires' net worth is not a result of wages? It's a result of investment and capital gains. It's not wages, it's income. The people who keep saying wage, the only way that most people earn an income is wages. So that's the lens that they understand. The U.S. tax code actually has multiple provisions for ending for income that's not wage based. But most people won't know that because that's the only thing that they're familiar with. But they're using their limited lens and scope of experience to make an extrapolation to the rest of everything, and it doesn't work. No, the majority of the money is not put back into a system that keeps the wheels of the economy working, keeping our lives going. No, it does not. $5 trillion over the last 20 years was spent in foreign wars, building countries that aren't this one, only to surrender them to the enemy, by the way. So that's a big portion of it.
The only money that gets put back into the system is the money that you spend as an individual. That is the only money that gets put back into the system.
The wheels of society don't need the $30 billion plus that mass incarcerate non-violent drug offenders for a dime bag. So any problem you think can be solved for billions of dollars, Warren's pre-K or whatever, a fraction of the budget is literally just going to, like, her entire budget for pre-kindergarten, which they don't even have a good plan for because they can't even get kindergarten through 12th grade right, but we're going to trust them with infants now. That's rich, like, pun intended. A fraction of that can be done by, I don't know, maybe stop sending people to jail for a dime bag. Maybe just let people who want to smoke marijuana, and then we don't spend billions of dollars. It's like, is that keeping the wheels of society going? No, it's keeping the prison industrial complex going. It's keeping corruption going. It's making people getting rich off of prisons, largely off people of color going. It's letting that happen. It's criminalizing poverty. It's keeping that going. The system, the money keeps the wheels of society going. No, it does not. This country got along. Do you realize that income taxes weren't even a thing in this country until World War II? How the country get from 1776 to 1940 without income taxes? It did. It did really fine. It did just fine. And then you want to say, okay, we get other things. We get these innovations. We get all these innovations. Okay, great. Most of the innovations that make your life better came from the private sector, not government funding. And they took government money and paid it back with interest, usually with early payoff penalty fees. Seems like an exchange of value, not a gift from the government. An exchange of value alone.
You know what would be a gift from the government?
What's that?
Wrapping up this episode.
Probably. No, that'd be a gift from us. That'd be a gift from the private sector.
That was awesome.
I tried to be smooth.
But no, I mean, no, you were smooth. It's like, I digress. My point is, I just think that the problem, I think that's a really convenient grift of marketing. Because like, it's about, for me, it's the marketing angle, right? It's the grift of lying and saying, hey, look at these billionaires over here living a life you don't have. I think it's a grift and a scam to distract you from the fact that politicians aren't doing their job. And what they're doing is they're misappropriating money that was entrusted to them by the American people. And they're not making their lives any better than the private sector is. The private sector has made every single person in this country's life better for the most part than it would have been otherwise. And the government hasn't. You can thank the government for the price of your food inflating by 15%, the price of all your other goods inflating by 7%, and you can thank the government for wonderful $5 a gallon gas prices. You can thank them for all of that. But I don't think there's much else that you really can sing your praises for when it comes to that right now. But that's just one man's opinion. But yeah, that's it. What are y'all doing? I don't get it.
For you, give us an outro.
Okay, let's go. How do I end this show? Thank you for listening to No Solely Required Podcast, a podcast where we talk about nothing except why Elon Musk is the GOAT and YouTube is needing to really reconsider the value of shorts, or rather YouTubers need to reconsider the value of shorts, and why writing a show means knowing when to stop. Tune in next week for another trio of exciting topics. We'll try and see what we can do about being on time next week, or rather Roberto will see what he can do about being on time next week. But we'll catch you next time. This has been your trio of hosts, starting with Stranger Romina, Audrey. I need a nickname for you this time. It's like, what are we doing this time? It's like Audrey needs to get on the audio version, Ember. And, of course, your Dark Lord of the interwebs and master of RGB, caping for the billionaire elite to save us all, Roberto Blake. We'll catch you next time. Nop!